Travelers, welcome to Doodlehead's complete Genshin Impact guide. With less than a week away from the game releasing globally, I noticed that some players still have some questions regarding the game. Well, look no further, because whether you are someone who just found out about the game or someone who is familiar about the game but you're just looking for some knowledge, hopefully this guide gives you a solid foundation to start the game strong. Now, even though this is based off of Chinese open beta, there's still a small chance that some changes can come during global release, but regardless of how big or small these changes may be, with this guide, you will all know, if not most, then basically everything this game has to offer upon release. Remember to like and subscribe if this guide proved helpful to you, and leave a comment below as to what types of topic and content you guys want on this channel regarding Genshin Impact. Now let's get straight away into the guide. So Genshin Impact is an open world RPG gacha game that takes place in the world of Teyvat. Upon global release, this game will be available for PC, PS4, Android, and iOS devices, with a release for the Nintendo Switch at a later date. This game contains a mix of story missions, side missions, commissions, and world missions alongside the open world exploration. Story quests, also known as Archon quests, are the main campaign missions. These missions are locked behind Adventure rank, which is basically your account level for completing the game's activities. There will be many side missions in the game that also take the form of character quests for players to get to know each individual character in the game with either some backstory or a more in-depth look into said character. These quests are also locked behind Adventure rank. When the missions are played, you as the player are allowed to have the character temporarily in your party as a trial character. Commissions are daily contract-like missions that reset at 4 AM, and only 4 are available per day and can be scattered anywhere on the map, represented by a purple star-like symbol. Some commissions are one-time only, while others are repeatable. But tackling these missions allow for players to earn Primo Gems, AR XP, Mora, Enhancement Ores, and Companionship XP. Knocking out all 4 will give you extra rewards from the guild base back at Mondstadt. These rewards will be a larger amount of Primo Gems, Mora, Adventure Rank XP, and Companionship XP, as well as a free Tier 1 Character Ascension materials. So always remember to fast travel back to Mondstadt once you complete the daily 4 commissions, since the extra rewards from the guild are independent from the rewards that you get from the commissions, and can only be claimed that day, or else it will be lost upon reset. World quests are random quests found while exploring or by finding the NPC associated with the world quest. You will either see a blue exclamation mark on your minimap or trigger the quest when you are near it. There are also some world quests that are tied to certain locations that provide some lore history of said locations. Some world quests do indeed have adventure rank requirements or require the completion of certain Archon quests. As previously mentioned, Genshin Impact has several monetization systems in place, with one of them being the gacha system, which is the summoning system. As of the Chinese beta, Genshin Impact starts out with a discounted banner that guarantees a 4-star great user called Noel, and a regular standard banner that will be in place to always summon from. Summons are performed with wishes, and players have the choice to use wishes in a singular or bulk manner, and summoning through the latter by using 10 wishes guarantees at least 1 character or weapon of 4-star rarity. There will also be limited banners that Genshin Impact will release on rotations that allows players to summon for a specific character at a higher chance, or as we like to call, rate up chance. These banners use intertwined fates, while the standard banner uses acquainted fates and cannot be used interchangeably. Each type of fates can be exchanged for 160 Primo Gems, 5 Star Glitter, or 125 Stardust. The discounted banner allows for 20 pulls, and instead of using 10 acquainted fates, you would only use 8. For any players that are not rerolling, it is highly recommended to spend 16 wishes to get Noel and any other 4 to 5 star characters you can snag, with luck of course. Even though you are guaranteed a Noel on your first multi-pull, you can still pull other 4-star or 5-star character weapons within that same summon session, so it's not like you're just pulling for Noel. Think of it as a discounted standard banner with a great consolation prize because Noel will prove to be useful, especially when first heading into leeway with the geo-shielded enemies. Another thing to know is that there is a pity system in place for the rarest of characters and weapons. Should you be one of the unfortunate ones ignored by our, air quote, merciful RNGesus on your 9th temple, you are guaranteed a 5-star character or weapon. If by any chance you were to obtain a weapon, then on your next pity, which is another 90 pulls, you will be guaranteed a character, which would either be the character from the rate up banner or just the character from the standard pool list. As of the Chinese open beta, there is a monthly pass available for purchase. Purchasing this pass immediately gives you 300 Primo Gems and then 90 Primo Gems as a daily login bonus for 30 days for a grand total of 3,000 Primo Gems. Based on the price of the Chinese open beta, it should come out to $5 to $10 max upon global release. There is also a battle pass system that becomes available to players who reach AR 20. Once unlocked, players can complete daily, weekly battle pass related missions in order to level up the battle pass. The battle pass is separated into 2 routes, where the top route, known as the Sojourner's Path, will be for all players, and the bottom path, known as the Gnostic Path, will be for all players who paid for the battle pass for extra rewards. One clear advantage to those who purchase the battle pass is the weapon bounty that becomes available once you reach 25 on the Gnostic Pass, which is the paid pass. This bounty grants the choice of one weapon of any class that does not seem to be available to be received through regular gameplay yet, at least from what I've seen and played, so don't quote me on that. Apart from the weapon bounty, players who pay for the battle pass will get extra Mora, XP tomes, orbs, fates, and many other different rewards. Now let's talk about Primo Gems. Primo Gems are the premium currency of Genshin Impact. They will be obtainable through the monthly card, battle pass, completing commissions, completing the Spiral Abyss bounties, and more likely than not, any future events in Genshin Impact based on the last closed beta. Primo Gems can be used to refill your original resin supply and to exchange for any of the 2 fates used to summon. There is another type of currency within the game, and it is called Genesis Crystals. These crystals are only obtainable through in-game purchases. Their only use is to exchange them for Primo Gems on a 1-to-1 basis. So for every Genesis Crystal, you will get a Primo Gem. Exchange 300 Genesis Crystals, and you will get 300 Primo Gems. Simple, right? There will be several activities to do in the overworld when one is not doing Archon quests, or maybe in between leveling up your adventure rank. Within the land of Tevat, there will be activities you can do that will be tied to specific rewards. One of these activities will be the Abyssal Domains. These dungeon-like instances will be the areas that one can go to earn rewards to make your character stronger. These dungeons are subcategorized into the Domain of Forgery, which is used to farm weapon ascension materials, the Domain of Blessings, used to farm certain artifacts, and the Domain of Mastery, used to farm certain talent level up materials. These dungeons change on a daily basis, so the rewards differ based on the day of the week. Always keep an eye out what type of ascension materials or talent level up materials you need so that you can farm them on the corresponding day. MiHoYo is making sure that we have a reason to get on daily. I like that. In Mondstadt, after reaching AR 14, players will be able to unlock the Expedition feature. This allows players to send any unused characters out on expeditions for materials and Mora. You will be given the option to send out characters out on either a 4, 8, 12, or 20-hour expedition in which character cannot be added into your party or used in any situation. The time even completes when offline, so a good strategy to do is to send out characters when you're ready to head off to bed, so that when you're ready to play the next day, the expedition would normally be complete. Once again, the characters sent out on the expedition cannot be used unless recalled early, and recalling the character will not grant you any rewards. The higher your adventure rank, the more characters you'll be able to send out, and the better rewards they will bring back. Out in the wild, there will be these majestic light colored smoke called ley lines. Their color indicates what type of ley line it is, where the blue one is the line of revelation, which is unlocked at adventure rank 8. in which it rewards you with XP materials upon completing, and the yellow one for the Line of Wealth, which is unlocked at Adventure Rank 12, which grants you more upon completion. Once interacted with, you will have to fight a few waves of enemies, and a blossom will spout from the ground. Here is where you can spend 20 resin in order to claim the rewards. The rewards scale with your adventure rank. One of each type of ley line will be present in each region, currently Mondstadt and Liyue, and when completed, another line will respawn around that area, so you can just pull out your map and just see where the next location is. This game also takes advantage of its sizable map by having bosses scattered all over the regions. Currently, there are two types of bosses. One are what I'm going to call the daily bosses. These bosses can be navigated to and fought, and when you beat them, they will drop character ascension materials or artifacts. It will cost 40 resin to claim these rewards and will take more or less 25 to 30 minutes for that same boss to respawn elsewhere. The other type of boss are the weekly bosses, in which you can go and fight, and they will have a weekly respawn every Monday. So far, the only two weekly bosses are Dvalin, which is the Storm Terror Dragon, and Andreas, which is the Wolf of the North. They cost 60 resin and will also drop ascension materials and artifacts. These bosses scale with your world level and get stronger as you do, so be wary. World level is just the process of ascending your world and having the enemies and monster in your world become stronger as well as increasing the reward drops in your world, making it easier and more common for higher rarity items to drop. Players will also be able to increase the max level of their characters and weapons as well. This is achievable by completing what is known as an Ascension quest for reaching a certain adventure rank. There are a total of 8 world levels so far. Genshin Impact currently has 5 weapon type specialties. I say currently because from each of the closed betas to the open beta we have now, there have been several additions to enemy weapon types in the game. So one can only expect or hope that it will be a thing later on in the future for our playable characters. Anyways, the first weapon we are going to look at is the Catalyst. These are the weapons that our magic users will use. Where Catalyst users shine is that all of their attacks instantly applies their respective elemental damage. So as seen on the gameplay, every lightning bolt that Lisa is able to connect instantly applies the electro status on the enemies. Catalyst users are great units to combo with. Once you apply an elemental status on an enemy, you can then switch to another unit to start your elemental combo. Next is the Polearm, which yields the farthest reach and has the fastest attack speed in the game. Getting normal combos off on enemies are a breeze with the Polearms, as well as reaching enemies from a distance with their charged attacks. Up next are Claymores, which has the slowest attack speed in the game, but has the highest damage capabilities per swing. Claymores have a big damage bonus towards Geo objects like Geo Shields that the Hilichurls uses in Liyue, and the Geo Towers created by the Geo enemy mages. Claymores can also break rocks more easily when mining. Swords are like the middle ground between polearms and claymores, where the attack speed isn't as fast as the polearms and the damage isn't as significant as the claymore, but they're still a great fighting weapon. In no way, shape, or form are swords inferior to the other 2 melee weapons, but they also provide a multitude of versatility during fights. Bows are also just as special as Catalyst users, as they can apply their respective elemental charge on the enemy, but only when charging their shots. You become less mobile and your aim is slower, but it's more precise, and when you are charging your shot, you gain a ridiculous amount of range and can hit targets very far away. These charges can also be held indefinitely, so as long as you aren't attacked. Otherwise, your animation and attack gets cancelled. This game currently has 7 elements which will impact the flow of combat. Each region in Teyvat houses an Archon, or god, of that respective element, and the Archons bestow the use of their elements to humans through visions, which are those colored amulets that every character carries somewhere on their outfit with the elemental insignia on it. As shown in this picture, from left to right, the elements are Pyro, also known as fire, Hydro, also known as water, Animal, also known as wind, Electro, which is lightning, Dendro, basically nature, cryo, ice or frost, and geo, which is earth. Genshin Impact's combo system is unique because it's not all about just spamming combos with your weapon. This game has players rely both on weapon damage and elemental combos. There are certain debuffs and attacks that can be achieved by comboing certain elements. Here is a visual representation of the elemental combos that can be utilized in battle. Now the special one is Animal, because Animal can be comboed with almost any and every element where it absorbs that second element and becomes that element when you attack. So if you were to light the grass on fire and use the Traveler's Animal attack, it absorbs that fire and it basically becomes a fiery vortex attack. Geo users usually are the defensive element in the game. So with that, they usually typically provide elemental shields, which reduces the resistance of that certain elemental damage. With Dendro, so far there's only one Dendro character announced that I recall. So with the Dendro, you attack the enemy and then apply pyro damage, and with that combo you just deal ongoing pyro damage, so they continuously burn and just you see their health ticking away. And now pyro, lightning, hydro, and frost all kind of interchangeably connect, because with fire you can basically vaporize the enemy when you combo it with water, so it deals additional elemental damage. You can also melt enemies once you apply the cryo status or the pyro status first, whichever, and it also deals increased damage. Or, which is honestly the most useful elemental combo in the beginning, is Overload. So with Amber and Lisa, which are your free to play characters, either or can attack first. You either charge shot with Lisa or charge shot with Amber, or regular attack with Lisa by that matter. And you get the Overload, which creates an explosion that deals pyro AoE damage and also serves to effectively break geo shields. Obviously, water conducts electricity, so when enemies are wet, you can attack and it deals ongoing electro damage to the enemy. That also works the other way around. So if you're on a lake, you get the wet status, and if an enemy attacks you with electro, you're gonna get that electro charged as well. Same thing if you were wet and you get shot with a cryo attack, you're gonna get frozen. So with hydro and cryo, once a enemy is wet, you apply the cryo status and they're frozen, so they become immobile and they take a little bit more damage from physical attacks, but then eventually they shatter. I believe that when they shatter, that also applies a bit of damage, but I'll have to do a little bit more testing and really see the damage numbers when that applies. Genshin Impact has many ways to progress and keep you occupied while multitasking. I've fallen victim of trying to reach a dungeon or going about trying to complete a mission, only to then get distracted by a chest or an oculi, to then later forget what I was doing in the first place. One of many ways to progress in this game is by using and managing your original resin resource. This serves as your energy source and can be used to claim rewards from ley lines, abyssal domains, and bosses found in the open world. Your resin regenerates 1 every 8 minutes, so we're looking at about 16 hours of cooldown upon completely using your resin. Players also have the option to spend primo gems up to 6 times to refill their resin, but the only thing is that it gets more expensive to refill. It's 50 primo gems for the first refill, 100 for the second and third, 150 for the fourth, and 200 primo gems for the fifth and sixth time. Fragile resin, which can be obtained from adventure rank rewards, can be used to refill 60 original resin upon use. As a refresher, ley lines and domain rewards cost 20 resin to obtain. Overworld bosses cost 40, and weekly bosses cost 60 resins. So plan accordingly and manage your time and resources. With the release of the Chinese open beta, MiHoYo has implemented an achievement system, which for doing things within the game you will be awarded with primo gems and a name card for displaying in the co-op menus. More free Primo Gems equals a better opportunity to snag a really strong character or weapon and progress farther into the game or tackle endgame content. One really nice touch in Genshin Impact is the Adventurer's Handbook. It is by far the neatest and most organized way to track and tackle your objectives. It tracks your daily commissions, displays the domains you have access to as well as the rewards, shows the location of the ley lines and can help players navigate to bosses and show their loot pool. Effectively using your handbook will prove useful to a swift progression. Leveling up your adventure rank is by far the most important progression related mechanic in this game, as nearly everything unlockable within Genshin Impact relies on the player achieving a certain AR rank. The higher your adventurer rank, the more domains you can tackle, you get to do the Spiral Abyss, and you get to continue through the main campaign and side missions. You can also claim free rewards and advance your world rank to farm higher tier gear. Remember travelers, this game is mostly a single player experience with some co-op, so there isn't any need to overly rush and make some mistakes along the way that could cost you some time. Progress at your own rate and enjoy the ride. Develop the characters that resonate with you the most. Try out some fun builds, but just overall, have as much fun as you can as a community. This game is a first of its kind. Let's enjoy it. Throughout the map of Teyvat, there are important items and landmarks in which I am going to dub world items. In this section, I will be talking about the important components out in the wilderness that can aid in your travels. First and foremost, we will look at the oculi, which are hidden, or in some cases, not so hidden elemental ores based on regions. In Mondstadt, oculi go by Anemoculus, which are anemo-type orbs, and in Liyue, they go by Geoculus, which are Earth-like structures. I can't call those orbs. Some will be way high up, and others will be deceptively hidden or accessible once you clear some sort of puzzle, and some will be in plain sight. These collectible orbs are important because they can be offered to the statues of the Seven in order to increase your max staminas and claim other rewards. Higher stamina reserves means more time sprinting and climbing and less falling to your death and drowning. When players are near oculi, a small white star-like icon will appear on your minimap, so that's usually a good time to stop and just look around. Now moving on to the Statue of the Seven. These tall statue structures represent each of the region's elemental archons. These statues serve many purposes, such as permanently filling missing parts of the map when interacted with. They can also be used as waypoints and be fast traveled to, as well as restoring the party's HP manually or just by simply being near it. Since each region has a different statue, one neat feature about these statues is that they can change the traveler's main element upon interaction. So if you want to play as the Geo Traveler or the Anemo Traveler, simply interact with either the Liyue or the Mondstadt statue respectively. There will also be small statues all around the map for fast travel, known as teleport waypoints. Upon first discovery, they award 50 adventure rank XP and 5 Primo Gems. Another great structure to look out for are the Shrines of the Depths. These structures have a barrier on them that can only be unlocked with a shrine key, which can be awarded from doing one-time domains and certain world quests. Each region has its own keys. Mondstadt keys will be blue, as well as the shields covering the shrine, and the Liyue keys and the shrine barrier will be yellow. Inside there will be a luxurious chest, which will award players with random 1 to 4 star weapons and artifacts, as well as 40 Primo Gems, 60 Adventure Rank XP, and 10 elemental sigils of the corresponding region upon unlocking the shrine. For the last parts of this video, we are going to talk about some of the other main aspects of the game. First off, cooking. In Genshin Impact, players have the freedom to cook out in the wild. There will be pots in which you can interact with and start using ingredients found while exploring or make dishes based off of recipes given to you or found. In the event that the pot does not have a fire lit under it, simply use a pyro elemental skill in order to ignite the flame and begin the cooking process. With cooking, you basically craft the meals that provide a plethora of buffs and heals either individually or team-wide. There's also a proficiency system in place which basically has you manually cook the same dish a certain amount of times, and when max proficiency has been reached, you can auto cook the dish and skip the little mini game associated with cooking. Artifacts will be your bread and butter in this game and will definitely determine the rate at which you progress and what content you can actually handle and complete. So definitely pay attention to this next part. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching and I appreciate the support. But back to the topic. So each character will have 5 slots for artifacts, and they are flower, plume, sands, goblet, and circlet. Artifacts have bonuses based on sets, which can only be applied in a 2-piece or 4-piece manner. Since there are only 5 slots, players have to carefully assess which bonuses benefits both their playstyle and the character's needs. You can either choose to equip a full 4 set and have both the 2-piece and 4-piece bonus for the artifact, or have 2 separate artifact sets and have 2 individual 2-piece bonuses. The rarity for the artifact ranges from 1 star to 5 stars, which affects the max level, main stat, and substats of the artifact. 1 star max artifact level is +4, 2 stars is +8, 3 stars is +12, 4 stars is +16, and finally +20 for a 5-star artifact. Every 4 levels brings up a new substat or upgrades an existing one. 5-star artifacts may initially drop with 3 to 4 substats, 4-star artifacts can drop with 2 to 3 substats, and 3-star artifacts can drop with 1 or 2 substats max. Now each artifact will have a different main stat, as some main stats are tied to certain artifacts. The flower will always give a flat HP bonus and the plume will always give a flat attack bonus. The sands, goblet, and circlet will all be able to drop with base HP, attack, and defense percentage bonus. But where they differ is that only the sands artifact will be able to drop with either energy recharge percentage bonus or a flat elemental mastery bonus. This will never be percentage based. The goblet will also be able to drop with either physical or elemental damage bonus percentage. And the circlet will be able to drop with either crit rate percentage, crit damage percentage, or healing bonus percentage. So that's 5 main stats for the sands, 5 for the goblet, and 6 for the circlet. Substats are easier to remember as they depend on the main stat, meaning that whatever is the main stat will never appear as a substat. So you will never see an energy recharge sands artifact as its main stat with an energy recharge substat. The only thing to remember is that the elemental, physical, and healing bonuses will not be present as a substat and instead gets replaced with a flat defense sub. Ladies and gentlemen, that about covers everything you need to know heading into the global release of Genshin Impact. I try my very best to simplify everything in order to avoid an unnecessarily longer video than this, so I do hope that this guide proved useful, and hopefully those with knowledge of the game found this as a nice little refresher, or maybe found something they didn't quite know about fully. Once again, leave a like and subscribe for more Genshin content, and catch me streaming Genshin on my Twitch channel, where I will be regularly playing campaign, as well as doing co-op with viewers for boss hunts or any other type of assistance needed. All of my info will be in the description below. It is with my pleasure to thank you all for tuning in, and see you on release.